Hi, you with Julian on the brown note in between Christmas and New Year. Actually, after New Year's Day now. Catching up on a raft of middling films I've seen over Christmas before getting to two heavyweights, which I haven't seen yet. But one of these is Black Adam, which is Dwayne Johnson's attempt to become a Marvel DC superhero. And the fact that it was focusing on a character that originated from Shazam was not something that I was blown away by particularly. I think we're seeing this is a passion project for Wayne Johnson, but it does seem like every actor of his caliber commercially is interested in being a superhero because it's worth a lot of money. But the fact that Shazam was never anything to me, I appreciated it a little bit, but it really did get on my nerves after a while. The whole teenage boy in an adult's body thing I thought got pretty tiresome. This time around we get a very interesting director, Jaime Collet Serra. I don't know how to say it. Now, the reason I'm interested in him is I'm a tragic for Liam Neeson action movies, and this guy, after some, I guess, horror films, House of Wax and Orphan, did a run of really good Liam Neeson films. Unknown, which is the one where he woke up in Paris and didn't know who he was. Non-Stop, the one on the plane, which is really good. And Run All Night, which is top-tier Liam Neeson actioner. So he then did the Blake Lively one, The Shallows. Again, got a lot of attention. The Commuter was a bit more middling. And the last film before this, Jungle Cruise, with Dwayne Johnson, I actually thought was really well done. I didn't really have a problem with it. He's come back with Black Adam, and what we're seeing with the DC and Marvel universe is a lot, probably with its apex with the extremely rubbish The Eternals. Was they're getting, like, scraping the barrel as far as these characters go now. It doesn't matter, no one's going to invent a new comic book character. What happened there? Did they just stop making them? So we've got Black Adam has this, in one of the most torturous opening monologues in history. The exposition at the start of this film is probably the worst I've ever seen. There's not only is it incredibly complicated, the story that's being told, I gave up several times understanding. So you get this kid who's actually got quite a gratingly annoying voice. Why they chose him to do a 10-minute monologue at the start of the film, I have no idea. Telling this really complicated story about ancient... At first I thought everything was in Mexico, ancient Mexico, but it's not, it's in the Middle East, which is bizarre because I spent a lot of this film continually remembering that it's not Mesoamerica, it's like somewhere in the Middle East, which is odd. But he tells this story about, in ancient times, there was a king who became desirous of this powerful crown that would make him a despot that would rule all, and that Black Adam was a slave, one of the slaves working there, but was rescued by the gods and given infinite powers to defeat the king at the time. He vanished. Hundreds of years later, the crown again is being pursued by archaeologists. Raiders of the Lost Ark does come up multiple times watching this, and he's reborn. The Dwayne Johnson champion of the people is Black Adam is reborn, and there's more convolution as to what actually happened hundreds of years ago and whether he's a hero that everyone needs or the hero that we deserve is pretty much the whole film. Now, it's not great. It's been a flop, really, but it isn't. It got better after about half an hour, but that first half hour was rough. It was very cringy, and the complexity of the exposition at the start is some of the worst I've seen. They just tell this incredibly detailed story with this grating voice. And it doesn't get much better for a while, but once it sort of pans out with the main characters, it's okay. from that point on. So we get Dwayne Johnson is pretty decent as the character because he's not a nice guy and not a heroic guy. This is no Captain America. This is like dark Superman. Alongside Black Adam, we get the equivalent of the Justice League called the Justice Society. This is how low tier we're going. We don't even get the Superman and Wonder Woman. We get the Justice Society with a flyy around man with wings who looks exactly the same as another character you kind of recognise from somewhere else, X-Men perhaps, which is pretty much to go with everything on here. Sarah Shahi I thought was good as the female lead. She's the local person who actually sides with Black Adam and says people are siding with Black Adam, whereas the Justice Society want to put Black Adam in a box because he's a powerful being from, they shouldn't be allowed out. She's from the L Word. I really liked her. I thought she was a standout in the film. Pretty much no one else is. We do get, for some reason, as one of the Justice Society, Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate, who possesses psychic abilities to manipulate reality and stuff like that. The weird thing about this, one of the things that I think is going to finally kill comic book movies is casting. So the people at studio heads continually want to throw teen-friendly, Shuri-friendly people at the screen who aren't very good. And we get two here. So we get Quintessa Swindell as a swirly cyclone superhero. And we get Noah Centineo as Atom Smasher, who is grows giant exactly the same way that Ant-Man grows giant, exactly the same. So they throw these two at the screen and set them up to be major characters, and then completely ignored them for the rest of the movie. They may as well not be in the film. They're like, here's your teenies, here's your teen audience, whatever. They just ignore them. They don't even pay attention to them being there, which is good, because I didn't want to know anything about them anyway. It is often cringy. It doesn't really have any agency to or reason to exist. I didn't have a problem with The Rock, essentially, but missing out his humour to the extent that his sense of humour is one of the main reasons why he has been a success as an actor. Where this film does play on that a lot less, it kind of reduces his presence to a bit of a non-entity. The effects and everything are pretty decent. There's some good visuals and it's relatively quick. Apart from the exposition over the opening 10-15 minutes, things progress at a rate of knots. It's very silly. And the whole sort of, the powerful object storyline is so overdone. So that wasn't a plus. No one other than that female was particularly stood out. Sarah Shahi as Adriana Tomaz. I thought she was really good, and I liked her. I liked her look. I liked her personality. She seemed to have a bit more agency about her, I guess. None of the others did. Even Pierce Brosnan sort of lost a bit here. I don't know why they've cast him in this role. And the others on that side, I actually got really annoyed at the Flying Man for continually pestering Black Adam. It got on my nerves a lot. So, I mean, the revelations as to Black Adam's real, true past added some grist to a very generic superhero story, and it is very mid-tier in every way. So you will probably cringe and probably just get across the line, but I'm going to give Black Adam a 4.5 out of 10. I wouldn't say it was as bad as many of the Marvel phase, whatever they are in, I don't think it's as bad as the Multiverse Doctor Strange. It's not as bad as the Eternals. It's like the Eternals, but much quicker and fun. So that's an improvement in 2 categories. So I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 10 for Black Adam.